Good morning. Today we are going to begin article writing. It is a part of the writing skill section. Article writing will be completely descriptive and analytical in nature. It will be based on the verbal inputs which will be provided in the question. The article has to be written in 120 to 150 words. Two questions will be provided, and out of the two, only one has to be answered. So, let's begin by knowing what is an article. An article is a written work published in a print or electronic medium. It may be for the purpose of propagating news, researching results, academic analysis, or debate. Generally, it is a piece of writing that is published in a newspaper or magazine. You might have read many articles in newspapers or magazines, and the two in the picture are examples of the same. There are a few points to remember, and here are they. Study carefully the question and hints, that is value points, given in the verbal input. That means you have to read the question very carefully and try to understand all the hints and value points provided in the question, as they have to be incorporated in your answer. Then you have to arrange the hints given in the order which you want to develop for the article. You may have some new ideas also, and you have to note down so that you can organize them properly later on. Most important is the title, and the title should catch the attention of the readers. And do not forget to add the byline. Byline means the name. Usually the name is provided in the question itself, but in case it is not, then you can add your own name. But usually it is fictitious. Then you have to begin with a striking opening sentence which addresses the readers and gets them interested in the topic. Sometimes you can also use a quote or a proverb or something like that, which can be very striking. You have to present a strong argument for your ideas, supporting it with evidence or elaboration. That means later on in the article, you need to elaborate the points. Introduce a new point at the beginning of each paragraph that follows to strengthen your ideas. Whenever you begin a new paragraph, try to introduce a new point so that there will be clarity in your ideas and thoughts. You have to develop your ideas as much as you can to make them interesting and substantial so that the reader will be very much interested in reading your article. Otherwise, it won't be engaging enough. Conclude with your strongest point. Whenever you feel like concluding your article, conclude it with your strongest point. Don't forget to add a quote or a catchy line at the end. It may be a pledge also. Use passive voice, humor, emotive language, rhetorical questions to provide a specific effect. Those things also add a lot to your article. Then let us have a look at the essential features of a good composition. First point is coherence. It means that the ideas should fit together. It should not be here and there. Then comes flow. Sentences should be linked up. It does not mean that you are trying to sum up the sentence at the beginning or sum up the article at the beginning and the introduction is somewhere down lying at the end. So there should be a flow. Relevance. This is the most important point in any writing skill. Every idea must relate to the topic. Sometimes while writing, we go here and there and we forget what the topic was about. So, every idea that you take up, every paragraph, each line should relate to the topic. Then, it should also be organized and it must be effectively and logically organized. And the final one is inclusiveness. Anything that is not important should be omitted. Now let us have a look at the split up of marks. Marks will be awarded for format. We have 1 mark for format, which includes the title of the article, which has to be very catchy but a short title, not a long one, and the writer's name, which we call as byline. Then we have content, which carries 2 marks. Content includes logical organization and relevance to the topic, including all value points provided as input in the question. This is the most important point that many of us do not take into consideration. We should include all the points, every detail that has been given in the question. Then we have expression, which also carries 2 marks. It means we have to be very accurate and fluent with the language. And finally, we have to conclude, providing solutions and ending with a proper sequence. So total, the article is of 5 marks, out of which format is of 1 mark, content 2 marks, and expression also 2 marks. Moving ahead, there are some do's and don'ts. In do's, we have writing the writer's name. As I said, many a times it is provided in the question, but many times it is not. So you have to be very fictitious and do not write any other detail. Then in do's, the second point is the heading of the article should be short, clear and informative. This is also a very important point. Many a times I have seen that there are 2 lines or 3 lines written in the form of a heading. That should strictly be avoided. Then we have to target the audience. We should understand whom we are targeting. The language and the style of writing should be according to the concerning readers, and it has to be very, very simple. And finally, using proper punctuations and elaborate ideas as per the topic. Now let's come to don'ts. Very lengthy articles should be avoided, and the title should be clear and it should not be lengthy, as we have already discussed that point. Then only the introduction and the conclusion should be attractive and attention seeker. Many a times people think that the first part and the last part of the article have to be very, very attractive, but it is not like that. We have to concentrate on the entire article rather than only on the introduction and conclusion. One can advise, suggest and give solutions to a problem in any paragraph other than the starting one. That is also incorrect. Usually solutions are given in the concluding paragraph. There must be only 3 paragraphs in an article: introduction, middle one and conclusion. That also is not correct. You can add 3 or 4 paragraphs as per your requirement, but see that it does not become lengthy. Now let's move ahead. The format. This is a very important point. Once again we are coming back to it. So the format is as follows. Usually it is divided into 3 parts and they are listed below. First part, heading. Second part, byline. The heading of the article should be engaging and it should not exceed more than 5 to 6 words. And we have to make sure that your heading does not have any spelling mistakes or grammatical errors. We should not use any unnecessary punctuation mark in the heading because the heading carries 1 mark. As I said, the format, that is the first thing, is heading, and byline, they have 1 mark. Then byline. Byline is nothing but the name of the person who is writing the article. The name of the person will be generally given in the question as discussed earlier, but if it is not given, then we can write our own details. Then next point is body. The body is the main part of an article and it carries more weightage of marks. Generally the body of the article consists of at least 3 to 4 paragraphs. Paragraph 1 is the introductory paragraph. Then it should be very accurate and it should precisely explain what the article is talking about. We should try giving some quotations, facts to excite the interest of the readers, and we should keep the language as simple as we can. Then paragraph 2 and 3, it should come up with a complete analysis of the subject matter in question, that is the value point or the hint provided in the question, and it must also include the following things, that is the current scenario. We must explain the current situation of the problem and also the cause and effect relationship. That should also be developed. Now let us talk about paragraph 4. Paragraph 3 or 4 is commonly known as the concluding paragraph. It is very important to conclude the article with what you have started with. And we should never leave an article open-ended. The conclusion or the concluding paragraph should always speak about the problems raised in the article and what are the actions that have been taken for the betterment of the problem or a solution to the problem. So, paragraph 3 and 4 should be very simple and precise. Some examples are there so that you can understand article writing in a better way. So the first one is Causes of Stress on the Modern Generation by Rahul Gupta. You can see that heading and byline is given and the article is divided into 2 paragraphs. Very simple. You can go through it for further understanding. Then we can see a second article which is on Save Water, Are We Doing Enough? So the question here was, by 2050, India will be amongst the countries which will face acute water shortage. You are highly alarmed and terrified of the future without water. So write an article on Save Water, Are We Doing Enough? So already the topic is given. You have to take it up. And what it talks about, that you are highly alarmed and terrified about the future. So you have to describe it in a beautiful manner in your own words. One thing that you might have noticed here is that the paragraphs are divided and paragraph 1 and 2 are written over there. But please understand that whenever you divide, you should not write paragraph 1 or paragraph 2 or something like that. This is just for your understanding and to explain that I have mentioned paragraph 1 or 2 over there. You have to divide it into paragraphs, but you should not mention the paragraph number. This is just for your better understanding. Then you can see the article starts with a very beautiful quote, that is, when the well is dry, we know the worth of water. And moving ahead, in also the conclusion, we can see that the article ends with a beautiful quote by Mahatma Gandhi, so that it can conclude your main point. So please go through the article for better understanding. I will give you some questions later on so that you can solve and have practice. I think you have understood article writing and you can understand it even better if you write it yourself. Thank you.